Let's see. Uh-oh. Excuse me. Do you mind?
Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about how the series visuals haven't really been the best, to be honest, and that's mainly with the models that Sonic Team uses. Almost every fan is basically sick of seeing the same model that's been used since Shadow the Hedgehog in 2005, and I agree with them too. It has a lot of problems, but that's where I'll get to later in the video. But for now, I just wanted to give my thoughts on how this model was even brought up to begin with, how it kind of downgraded over the years, and then give my thoughts on what Sonic should look like in the future games. So let's get into it. Even though this doesn't seem like it at first, I kind of want to take a look at Sonic Heroes. To be honest, the model used in the renders and in the in-game model are different. I mean, obviously that's the case, but I think the in-game model is where this whole drama kind of started from. Take a look at it closely. The main parts you'll want to notice are the shoes, as well as like the proportions of the model in general. For starters, the proportions are way more exaggerated than in Sonic Adventure 2. I mean, that's a given with Heroes' art style, but this is kind of what it led to. And the shoes aren't really the same shape as the ones seen in the promo art for Heroes. They have kind of like a clothing iron shape to them, if I'm being honest with you. It's kind of hard to explain, but it just goes to show how many similarities this model has with the model that we're going to talk about. I'm guessing that Blur Studio used their models, the ones that are seen in like the Shadow the Hedgehog opening cutscenes and whatnot. They probably based it off of the one in Heroes, and the reason why I think that is because there's a render of Sonic that pretty much uses the exact same model, and this was way before it was used in like Unleashed or Secret Rings. And if I'm being honest with you, in the opening it looks really cool, but they obviously had stuff that they could have made better with it over the years. Even though it kind of did show up in Secret Rings for like the intro and the promo, the first mainline game to use it was obviously Unleashed, and a lot of fans look back on it being, with that model probably being the best it ever looked. And to be honest with you, I'm also one of those fans. I think the expressions were on point, the way he just was animated, the way he moved around, everything. Those cutscenes didn't do one bad thing with this model, besides obviously the mocap, but obviously that would change. And to be honest with you, it was to his benefit because this game was the last Sonic game to have proper budget on it, so it made sense that they'd want to put all their efforts into how good this model looked. Not too long after that, Sonic 4 ended up coming out in 2010, and I guess this was kind of like a taste into how bad this model could get. I mean, just take a look for yourself. But this was kind of gradual though, and it wasn't really as noticeable as in the mainline games at first. Though it kind of got worse in games like Forces, where they just felt like robots in some of the cutscenes, the way they were animated. I think the main part that people really didn't like was how the model kept on getting tweaked in between games. Like at first it was just the proportions, and then in Forces it was like his skin color and then his quill size. It got a lot of controversy on both sides. If anything, it didn't really help the animation either. Like I said before, he just acts like a robot now. He doesn't really emote like at all. He looks really stiff, and there's a lot of nuances with the model that make it worse when you compare it to other models from the past. Like I said before, this model did get a lot of controversy, but there are people who genuinely think that there's no real problem with it and that the posing is really what stops it from being good. Look, I've seen renders of this model where the posing does make it look pretty decent, but that's the problem. The model should be able to look good on its own, and the posing should be able to help make it look better. If that's not the case, then you're just trying to hide the problems by the posing, and that doesn't really work when comparing it to other renders and models that Sonic has had in the past. They never had problems like that, so I just think that's kind of like a hideaway from like what problems the model does have. But that's just my opinion. So I guess the question is that if this model does have problems and it really isn't suited for future games, what do I think Sonic should look like in a future game. I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a post made by this guy Alexis on Twitter where he showed a clip of a Sonic model that he made, which looks completely the same as the renders from like Sonic Adventure 1. And to be honest, when Sega decide to remake the SA1 eventually, they just have to go for that look again. And it just makes them fit so well with how Crash and Spyro both came back with their remakes, and obviously Crash 4 was made, and it just makes him reach that level, if you get what I mean. That's just what I think though. Thanks for watching the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe for future content, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.